These are my favorite fantasy books of 2025 part 2. I told everybody that I was going to get this video out, and I feel like I can't go into February without making sure that I at least share my other half of favorite fantasy books. So some of these are new releases, but I did read them in 2025, so I'm including them in that list. I've got series, I've got standalones, I've got duologies, I think, maybe potentially, and all of these were fantastic. They're all books that I think about. So the first book that I want to talk about is The Poet Empress. This is a new release. This is a debut novel, which I'm still shocked because it did not read like a debut novel. No tea, no shade to anybody, but that first work that is coming out. And so I just want to say, one, the author did a fantastic job. This is a standalone. This is a dark fantasy. This is not a romantasy. I just want to make that very clear. There is torture, there is abuse in this book. I mean, it is grim. And so I just want to make that super, super clear so you know what you're walking into, because I've already seen people try to talk about this romantasy. This is not romance. There is a marriage, but that marriage does not equal romance or a love story, and it is neither of those things. We're following Wei Yin, and she is the daughter of rice farmers, and her community, I mean, the famine has hit, the emperor is dying. There is a magical system. It's called poetry magic, but of course it's for the elite, right? And so she is desperate. She's desperate to get an education. She's desperate to help her family. So she actually has an opportunity to be a concubine to the empire, and she knows that this will be a way that she can support her family. Well, she's able to get in, but then she's actually ends up being the princess chosen. And the prince, y'all, I mean, he's pretty evil. He's pretty evil. He has been through a lot of trauma. He's been through a lot of stuff, and he takes everything out on Wei. Also, I'm probably saying her name incorrectly. I read this book months ago, and I do apologize if I am. She is so determined, and she is such a badass in her own right. I mean, y'all, she's a teenager. I mean, she's 16, and she is so cunning. She is manipulative in ways that I found so intriguing, and she quite literally will do anything for her people. And so she learns to start to write poetry magic. She has to do it secretly, of course, but of course, being the princess chosen, she has a lot more power than she did before. And she's also keeping it a secret that the prince is abusing her. I mean, he is doing vile acts to her, and she just keeps putting her community above everything else, which I just keep putting myself in her at being 16. Absolutely, wow. It was a lot. And she is learning to, you know, like I mentioned, she's learning poetry magic so she can take down the prince and get herself into a better position and to help her community. It was done so well. It is beautiful but heartbreaking. And again, as a debut novel, I was just so I was so happily surprised. So Burn the Sea is also going to be a new release. This doesn't come out until April, but again, if you are into politically charged fantasies, this is going to be for you. So in this book, we are following a newly appointed queen, and essentially they have these half men, half snakes that come out of the water, and they want their tithes. Not only do they want their tithes, they also want to colonize her land. And she says, absolutely not. So what is a queen to do but to fight back? And that's exactly what she does. She ends up marrying a man from the neighboring kingdom. And y'all, he's just an idiot. That's just what I'm going to say. He's an idiot. And he drove me insane the entire book. She has so much patience. So much patience. I really enjoyed their political marriage because it wasn't like other political marriages. That's what I'll say. I'm trying not to be too spoilery here, but you know, we are talking about books in depth, so let's just remember that. But let's just say, I mean, it truly is a political marriage, and it was really interesting to see her go like through her thoughts and how she felt about this marriage. Her best friend, he has been a part of her life, obviously her entire life. He's been her protector, all of that. And maybe best friend isn't the best way to put that, but they have just always been in each other's presence. They've kind of had a little bit of a history. This is a historical fantasy as well. And so I really appreciated how the author put, you know, that history into this book. It's based on the attacks in Portuguese in the 1500s, and it really did make me interested to learn more about this history. I want to say that this is going to be at least a series. I don't know. If I can remember correctly, I did see that there was going to be another book, but I could be wrong about that, so don't quote me about that. But I think for the way that it ended, it absolutely will be, because we do have a little bit of a cliffhanger there, and I just loved it. I loved everything about it. I just thought the world was very lush. It was very rich. The ending fire trilogy, which I'm like, about time. I love buddy reading trilogies and duologies because I do think they're kind of like the perfect amount of books to read with somebody else, and it was so good. This is a sapphic, I want to say, I guess, a little bit like queer normative world, but we are following 3 different individuals and we are seeing their stories come together. And I will say the first book I do think is my absolute favorite of the trilogy. The second book made me very emotional, and the third book, it was a little bit too fast paced. Things were wrapped up a little bit too quickly. There's a certain couple in the book that I just wanted more from them because I really enjoyed their love story. And it's so funny because in this couple, and again, I'm trying not to give too much away, but in this couple, one of the characters, she actually is pretty insufferable to me, but when she is with the other person that she's in love with, I I love them together. So that was really interesting as well, because it was these dynamics. It's like, yes, I'm rooting for them, but like separately, I only really love one of the characters. And so if you've read the trilogy, you probably know who I'm talking about, but I really enjoyed it. I thought out fantasy. I think this is done really well. Oh my God, the Burning Queen, which comes after the Phoenix King, is so good. I do believe this is going to be a trilogy, so maybe, you know, temper your expectations if you want to jump into these right away. But I do believe it's going to be a trilogy. This definitely, I mean, we carried on from book 1, and if you love to see a woman come into her power and just like be such a badass, that's what this book was. A little bit of a love interest as well, but the way that Aparna Verma writes is so captivating. And I don't think the Phoenix King or the Burning Queen gets enough attention whatsoever. I'll come back and do a full review, but I want to wait until I finish the trilogy to kind of give you all of my thoughts. It's a little bit of a fun one, but all superheroes need photo ops. This is the second book in an interconnected series. They are super fun. They're kind of like, picture like a rom-com, but make it a little bit fantastical because they're superheroes who have powers. I really loved this one. I think a lot of people probably won't love it as much just because the main male character in this book, he is an asshole. Like through and through he is. I love an asshole character, and it made sense for the storyline, but we also have a beautiful plus size woman who just like is gonna do what she's gonna do, and I love that too. I think they're so much fun. If you need something that is going to make you laugh but you kind of want to stay in the fantasy realm a little bit, then this is gonna be a really good one. I absolutely got my trophy for this, and I might have already mentioned this in the other video, but Red City by Mary Lou, I did not understand Mary Lou's pen game. I hadn't even heard of her until this book, and it changed everything for me. So in this book, the big magical system is alchemy. So we're following 2 alchemists who come from completely separate worlds. In school, they've got this chemistry. They are essentially rivals, and I just thought it was done so well. Again, it's dark. There are definitely some themes in here that might make some people uncomfortable. They think that the way that Mary Lou wrote this book, I didn't want to put it down. I think I finished it in 2 days. Like, it is so good. Also, I love that it was set in LA. I thought that was cool. This is an urban fantasy, obviously. The Eye on the Silver Sea, this is such a good one. This is my first Tasha Suri book, which I know, shame on me, but I'm so happy that I started with this one. So if you are into Lady Knights, this is definitely gonna be for you. This is a sapphic fantasy, like it's rooted in folklore, and medieval folklore specifically. We have a knight and a witch who are destined to fall in love over and over and over again, but they keep sabotaging each other and dooming each other over and over and over again. So essentially we're following 2 people who are trying to break the cycle. I do think some of these moments are a little bit slow, but man, it just made me so happy. It was just one of those books that the yearning and the tension and the whole like, yeah, we're gonna fall in love, but then that means like we're gonna hurt each other in the process is so good. It's so good. Avaricious Oaths is definitely a romantasy, and it is spicy as hell. So I'm gonna tell you right now, if you are not into a spicy romantasy, this is not gonna be for you. To me, this was a very fun book, okay? I think that like the magical system is pretty straightforward, like, you know, kingdoms and fae and like all that kind of stuff, but man, it was just delicious is the best way that I can put that. It was absolutely delicious. We have a badass FMC, and she really she does not care, y'all. I mean, like, I love her. I loved her friend group. Same for our main male character. I loved him. I loved his friend group. I mean, literally, they meet each other because she has to get married to this guy that she doesn't want to get married to, and decides that they're gonna go, you know, they're gonna go to a sex house essentially, and she's gonna have a fun one-night stand. And when I tell you, I mean, come on. They are, they obviously bring me a lot of joy. Sticking to that line, Psycho Shifters. Now, I know that the series has been out, but they are coming out with the audiobooks. Actually, the second one is already out. I have read that one as well. I am going to recommend it. I always say you have to suspend your belief with this because they really are kind of a hot mess, but like in the best way. They're so funny and they're so ridiculous. They are white shoes. Like, They are, well, is it why choose or more poly? Anyways, but it is just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. And I think that if you want something to make you giggle, these are really fun ones. I do recommend them via audiobook. I don't think I would like them as much if I read them just, you know, like a physical book or an ebook. So I am going to suggest audiobook. There's several narrators. They do a great job and it's a lot of fun. Man, When the Tides Held the Moon. This is a beautiful historical fantasy. It is really heartbreaking as well, but we are following Benny and he gets a job on Coney Island Park and he starts working there, and they have this tank in this cage, really, and they have a merman in there. And they start to form this relationship, and I just found like the yearning to be so beautiful and so heartbreaking. Oh my gosh, it was so good. And I think the character work was done really well. It's one of those books that I'm really mad that I don't know the physical, because the author puts her own illustrations in there. They're all done by her. It looks stunning. So if you own that book, I'm jealous of you, because I definitely want to come back and get that book and just read it again. And the Tether series, this is one of those trilogies that is so underrated. Nora Williams does such a great job at giving us a really solid romantasy. And I think its plot can hold its own. Even if the romance wasn't there would still be a really good plot. The romance is crucial, like, don't get me wrong, we absolutely need it, but I think she does a really good job of like creating this plot, these lines in the plot that like could carry on, even if the romance maybe wasn't super prevalent or was more of a subplot. It's definitely one of the main, the main parts of the story, but again, I loved it. I was laughing out loud. It has the spice. It has the found family. If you are looking for something that I feel like is a little more underrated, definitely recommend the Tether trilogy. The Deep is a dark historical fantasy. It is a standalone and it is very short, but it's very, very impactful. So in this book, we follow Yitu, and she's the historian. So she's the historian for her people. So essentially, she is the only one who can remember their history. And their history is about African enslaved women who were thrown overboard. Literally, I mean, like discarded. And it's painful and it's raw. And we're really following her story and what it's like to be the historian. And it is just beautiful and very multi-layered. And for such a short read, it is so impactful, and is one of those books that like I think you could pick up time and time again and you get something different. And then lastly, the last of the group, I really don't see this book talked about enough, and I don't know if it's because people don't like it or if they just are, I mean, the cover is okay, it's just kind of a typical, I feel like, fantasy like with romance type of cover, but it's The Serpent and the Wolf. And in this book we follow Vasa. Her mother is gone, unalived, and essentially her brother is really, really fucking evil. He wants to marry her off because he doesn't want her to have a play at the throne. He's just like, he just pisses you off the entire book. So she does want to live. She wants to be able to support her people and, eventually to see things change. So she does go into her new marriage. And it's a little bit volatile from the beginning. I do remember her having a knife to his throat. I do remember that, like, pretty quickly after getting married. But I think it's such a great blend of plot and romance. I think that if you are somebody that you need that plot to be there, this is going to be for you. And I do believe the second book is coming out soon. I want to say it's coming out in 2026. So especially with how book one ended, you're going to need book number 2. And again, this just adds to the list of books that I need to reread so I can remember everything for book 2. But I just think it's so underhyped as well. Like, I just don't see enough people talking about it. It's so good. I read it via audio. I do believe, actually, I don't know if there's multiple narrators, but I do remember loving it. I read this one a little while ago, like I think early 2025. So, give me a little bit of grace, spend some time. But again, it's just one of those where like the yearning and the tension and just like seeing the relationship build is so great. But again, we still have that strong, plot in there, people trying to unalive each other, there's some backstabbing, there's like all of that going on. So anyways, these are my favorite fantasy books of 2025 part 2. I thoroughly enjoyed all of them. I think that they are books that I will come back to and books that I want to purchase as like my shelf trophy, all of those good things. So if you've read any of these, let me know. If there's any that I need to be on the lookout for 2026, let your girl know.